The red and blue lights cut across the lake like a knife, flashing on the water, turning it into a mirror of chaos. And right there on the dock, my grandpa, hands scarred from years of work, shoulders bent but steady, was being told to put his hands behind his back like he was some criminal. And the worst part? It wasn't because of anything he did wrong. It was because of one woman, our HOA president, Karen Davis, who had decided that my grandpa didn't belong, and she wasn't going to stop until she proved it. I can still feel the pit in my stomach from that night. And if you think this was just about fishing, you're dead wrong. We'd only been at this cabin a few months. After Grandma passed, Grandpa said he couldn't stand the noise of the city anymore, couldn't stand feeling boxed in. So we moved to this old place by Ridge Lake. It wasn't much. Porch leaned forward like it was listening. Screen door squeaked, roof patched with tin, but it smelled of pine and damp earth. And Grandpa said that smell was better than any medicine. He took me down to the water the first morning, handed me his old dented tackle box, and said, "Eli, this lake will teach you patience if you let it." I believed him, but not everyone was happy to see us. Karen came marching down the road with her clipboard and tape measure swinging like a weapon. I still remember how tight her ponytail was, like it pulled the smile right off her face. "Where do you live?" she barked. Grandpa, polite as always, told her up by the Ridge cabin. She sniffed. "That's outside the HOA. Don't park on our streets, don't use our trash, and don't even think about fishing in our lake." Grandpa nodded, wished her a nice day. But me? My fists clenched. I should have known then this woman wasn't just unfriendly. She was dangerous. At first, we tried to stay out of her way. We fished the public side, picked up other people's trash, minded our business. But then the letters started, slipped under our door like poison. No non-residents allowed on docks. Fishing permits required. Final warning, violators will be prosecuted. Grandpa just smoothed the paper out on the table, tapped it with his hand, and said, "We'll answer with patience. Eli." He pulled out an old deed my grandma had kept, stamped, signed, yellowed with age, that spelled out our easement. It gave us legal right to fish and use a strip of shoreline. Proof, plain as day. He wrote back, respectful, attached a copy, asked for a meeting. Karen barely glanced at it before tossing it aside. 2 weeks later, we got a big red "denied" stamped on another notice. The first real showdown came at the dock. Grandpa had his line cast out, calm as the heron on the far bank. When Karen stormed up filming on her phone, screaming that he was trespassing, I stood frozen, my stomach in knots. He lifted the red folder with the deed in it, held it high without crossing her line, and said, "Ma'am, I have papers right here. I've asked for a meeting." She just laughed, spun the camera on herself, and shouted to her followers about outsiders stealing our lake. And then she called the cops. When those SUVs rolled in, sirens off, but lights flashing, I swear the whole world tilted. Neighbors poured out like it was a circus, some curious, some eager for drama. The officer's hand hovered near his belt. "Sir, step away from the dock." Grandpa did as told, calm as ever. But Karen shrieked, "He's resisting! Don't let him reach for anything!" My blood went cold, and for the first time in my life, I saw handcuffs glint in the sunlight inches from my grandpa's wrists. Here's where I'll admit something. I almost gave up. Standing there, everyone staring at us like villains. I thought maybe we should just pack up, leave, let Karen win. Maybe it wasn't worth it. Grandpa was too old for this. And me, I was too tired of being hated. My chest felt hollow. My head whispered, "What if she's right? What if we don't belong?" I wanted to scream, to run. But then Grandpa looked at me, just one glance, steady as a horizon, and I knew he wasn't done. And because he wasn't done, I couldn't be either. The twist came like lightning, just as the cuffs were about to click. A pickup skidded to a stop, and a man in a county jacket jumped out, waving a rolled-up map. Surveyor Mike Rivers. He jogged to the old boundary stone, brushed dirt from it, unrolled the map, and announced loud enough for the whole crowd, "This marker predates the HOA by 30 years. Carter family has easement rights to fish and access this shoreline. Law beats bylaws. Every time." You should have seen Karen's face. She sputtered. Brad, the HOA president, tried to charge forward with his own folder, slipped, and sent Karen's precious phone splashing into the lake. The neighbors gasped. For once. The smug look drained from her face, but instead of stopping, she doubled down. She plastered flyers calling Grandpa a curse, spread lies that he caused the clubhouse fire when it burned due to faulty wiring. She snuck out at night to chain the dock and hammer up "No Trespassers" signs. And the worst, she filed a lawsuit, dragged us to court, accusing Grandpa of trespassing, disturbing the peace, even claiming damages for the fire. I was sick to my stomach, sitting in that courtroom, watching Karen spit her venom. I thought we'd lose everything. But Grandpa stood, voice soft but steady, and handed the judge that same red folder. Rivers laid out the maps, the county records. The judge read in silence, then looked up and said the words I'll never forget. "This court finds Mr. Carter's easement rights valid and enforceable. HOA has no grounds." Karen's face twisted, Brad's went pale, and I felt breath flood my chest again. Now, any normal person would stop after losing in court. Not Karen. That night, a storm rolled in, and neighbors woke to the sound of shouting. We ran out, rain slicing our faces, and there she was on the dock, hair plastered to her skull, screaming as Brad pried at the survey stone with a crowbar. "Dig it out!" she shrieked. "If there's no marker, there's no proof." Neighbors crowded behind us, flashlights flicking across the rain, jaws dropping at what they saw. Karen was literally destroying county property in front of everyone. Brad heaved. The stone toppled into the water with a splash, and the crowd erupted. Gasps, shouts, phones raised, someone yelling, "That's a crime!" Police cars tore down the road, sirens piercing the storm. Officers jumped out, boots splashing mud, voices sharp. "Step away from the dock!" Brad stumbled back, white as a ghost. Karen planted her feet, pointing at Grandpa like a banshee, screaming, "He cursed this place! It's his fault!" But nobody believed her anymore. The officer yanked cuffs from his belt. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for destruction of county property and harassment." Her shriek was drowned by thunder as they cuffed her hands behind her back. Brad muttered excuses, but another officer took his arm too. I'll never forget that image. Karen, soaked, hair wild, mascara running, screaming, "I am this community," as they shoved her into the patrol car, neighbors staring, shaking their heads. The storm eased, the rain softened, and for the first time in months, I felt the grip of fear lift off the neighborhood. Afterward, the HOA collapsed. Neighbors voted it out, replaced it with a volunteer group focused on real needs, fixing wiring, mowing lawns, helping each other instead of terrorizing each other. The chains came off the dock, the crooked signs vanished, and my grandpa, he sat on that dock the next morning, cast his line, and the water rippled like nothing had ever disturbed it. I sat beside him, the red folder at his side like a shield, and I realized something. Karen thought power was in fear, in rules, in shouting, but real power was in truth, in patience, in the kind of quiet strength that doesn't break even when everyone calls you a trespasser. And in the end, she destroyed herself trying to destroy us. Sometimes, the harder someone clutches at control, the faster it slips through their fingers.